Hi, everybody. I am Isabelle Valle. Here with me is Micaelle. We are from TATO, a research group that I coordinated at Federal University in Paraíba, from Paraíba in Brazil. So we are glad to be here and share with you part of our research. The photographic culture was established within an imperialist context. A few imposed against others their unlimited right to point, shoot, and archive. Photographs are an inventory of what a certain regime allows to be seen and to be remembered. Visual narratives constructed by women, especially white women, were restricted to their private space for a long time. Only recently have family albums and other private visual productions by women entered the public sphere and gained recognition as part of a collective memory. On the other hand, historically, other marginalized groups, dissidents from the hegemonic systems, haven't ever even had the access to register their private lives. And now we bring Mayara Ferrão, a Black Brazilian artist. She has dedicated herself to an investigation that combines archival research on slavery with the manipulation and generation of image through AI. Her creations reimagine scenes of Black enslaved and lesbian couple in love, beyond creating fictional narratives of what if. The work actually reveals the reality of facts and romances that did not have the opportunity to be photographed in a world marked by cis-heteronormative white supremacy. The prompts written are proceeded by archival research to achieve maximum likelihood to historical photographs. The archive of marginalized group, such as queer and people of color, is as filled with gaps as it is with memories. Their existence were deliberately omitted from colonial narratives. This imaginative work seeks to give form to memories that never had the opportunity to come to archive physically. These AI generations try to mimic the conventional realistic iconography of photography and try to imagine worlds and provide visibility for narratives of dissidences. Her work proposes some points of reflection. It questions the archive as absolute and natural. It reimagines memories that were purposefully erased from colonial narrative, and it produces a healed and affirmative representation of Black, enslaved, and queer women.
This other exhibition from Brazilian artist Gisele Belgeman is composed of different experimentations with artificial intelligence to try and subvert the supposed concept of natural. Through confronting the nature and the science objectivity concept, she investigates botanical taxonomies to reveal the underlying colonial and scientific racism and sexism embedded in plants of scientific names that are offensive against marginalized groups. As you can see on the left side, the research cataloged a few plants and species that had names that contain prejudice associated with either body parts or cultural traits, and then she listed the reasons why they're considered harmful and to specifically which groups. And on the right side, it shows the results of her AI conversions, where she proceeded to generate AI crossovers of those species, creating new rebellious species. Belgeman uses AI to emulate the same technical process that Francis Galton used it to try and typify a specific facial feature of supposed criminal or ill human beings. Francis Galton was a Nazi and creator of eugenistics, and he used the scientific disguise to try and validate his racist theories. Belgeman here subverts this idea and this method as a confrontation. She is casting a light on the very mechanism by which dissidence is manufactured and marked. If language, both the vocabulary and the language of photography, produces the world, the hegemonic botany taxonomy that Belgeman explores here is an example of a ritual of domination. Using AI generation as an exploratory tool, Giselle hacks the linear process of machine learning. In his paper, Brazilian author Lisowski writes about the dimensions of archival and what do they represent. He proposes a +1 dimension that would be the potential of the poetics of the archival, the potential to bypass register history and to evoke what went unrecorded. Paolo Strajani art piece Northeast Strawberry is a piece that is a composition experiment with AI. The artist begins by feeding an image of her grandparents into the machine and asking AI to blend those images with photographs from her friends that have diverse corporalities. The promptography here is not the final destination, but the starting point for Trajani's fabulations. The images outputted by the machine are recreated by the artist's hand in a species of digital collages and experiments with editing softwares, where she's tensioning and questioning the results and the aesthetic choices of the machine. In the words of the artist herself, I poetize this search for an identity that being Black, Indigenous, or trans escapes. Everything becomes a pixel. Everything is eaten by the hungry mouth of the algorithm. In the absence of memory, we create our own, and mediating this delirium, run memory, the machines that feeds on dreams. Trajani proposes aesthetic crossing between the mise-en-scène of traditional familiar photography from the northeast of Brazil, represented here by the specific formats, and the mise-en-scène of a contemporary dissident existence that escapes from this traditional notion of family. The artwork here explores the aesthetics of affections, rethinking the concept of memory of what is familiar. Through our research, we conclude the potential of AI-generated images, promptographies, as emancipatory possibilities of remembering. Thank you all so much. Acho que eu vou.